Before we get into today's show, let me tell you about the latest deal from Mike Lindell, MyPillow. Once again, the big box stores have canceled their orders simply because they don't agree with Mike Lindell's politics. They don't like it because he supports President Trump. Well, he's going to pass that savings on to you. No more middleman. And boy, does he have some great deals on the Giza Dream sheets and the Percal bed sheets. Listen to this. Giza Dream queen size, normally $139.98. Your wholesale price, $69.99 when you use promo code Joey. King size, only $79.99. The Percal queen size, normally $89.98. Your wholesale price, $29.98 when you use promo code Joey. Just call 1-800-893-4059 or go to mypillow.com. Always use promo code Joey. Free shipping options available. This allotment's not going to last very long. When they're gone, they're gone. mypillow.com. Promo code Joey. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition Studios. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. Welcome in as we kick off another week. Hope you had a great weekend. Peace negotiations with Iran fell apart after Tehran severely misjudged what kind of leverage they had, according to a U.S. official. Vice President JD Vance returned home on Sunday after talks failed to produce an agreement on Saturday. We have the full story for you in today's show. It was a bad weekend for Representative Eric Swalwell as he was accused of assault that was published in a bombshell report from the San Francisco Chronicle on Friday, with lawmakers from both parties calling on him to drop out of the race and to resign from Congress. We have the latest on this developing story from California as well. It took Rory McIlroy 17 years to win his first Masters last year, but he wasted no time joining just three other golfers to win this celebrated tournament back-to-back. It was an exciting weekend for golf fans, and what a payday. Want to guess how much those 4 days of golf earned McIlroy? Text me, email me, joey@joeyhudson.com. We'll talk about it later in the show. A family in Colorado found out firsthand the importance of trained canine officers in law enforcement. We have the heartwarming story of Canine Rex and the return of a missing girl in Colorado.
I told you we'd be back.
And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free.
It's Joey Hudson.
I wanted to name it the Joey Hudson bill, but, they don't allow you to put names on bills. But I wanted to call it the Joey Hudson bill because I know that one's been near and dear to you for a number of years.
That's how it's done. Let your voice be heard.
And the truth shall set you free.
Here's Joey Hudson.
Well, it's a busy Monday, so let's just jump right in. Representative Eric Swalwell said he is suspending his campaign for California governor, citing personal issues and ongoing allegations. In a statement posted on X, he says he's out. Jill Nadeau with Fox News broke the story last night.
Congressman Swalwell posted on X late Sunday, "I am suspending my campaign for governor. To my family, staff, friends, and supporters, I am deeply sorry for mistakes and judgment I've made in my past. I will fight the serious false allegations that have been made, but that's my fight, not a campaign's." Meanwhile, staffers working at his congressional office and at his gubernatorial campaign headquarters said they were supporting the woman accusing Swalwell of sexual misconduct. He had also lost support in the governor's race from fellow Democratic lawmakers like Senator Adam Schiff and former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. Jill Nadeau, Fox News.
Mr. Swalwell's decision came as pressure mounted over sexual assault allegations published in this bombshell report by the San Francisco Chronicle. It all started breaking on Friday afternoon. Lawmakers from both parties called on him to drop out of the race and to resign his seat in Congress. Figures calling on Swalwell to step aside included former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. Pelosi urged that consideration of the accusations against Swalwell take place outside the context of a campaign, she said. In a statement given to NBC, she said, "The young woman who has made serious allegations against Congressman Swalwell must be respected and heard. This extremely sensitive matter must be appropriately investigated with full transparency and accountability. As I discussed with Congressman Swalwell, it is clear that this is best done outside of a gubernatorial campaign." A number of other Democrats soon joined the former speaker's calls, with a handful rescinding previous endorsements of the campaign. For example, Senator Ruben Gallego of Arizona posted on X, I've read the San Francisco Chronicle's reporting, and I take it seriously. What is described is indefensible. Women who come forward with accounts like this deserve to be heard with respect, not questioned or dismissed. Representative Ted Lieu, who sits on the House Judiciary Committee, also said he would pull his endorsement. He said, in light of the recent allegations against Representative Eric Swalwell, I am withdrawing my endorsement of his campaign for governor. This, too, posted on social media. In his Friday report, the Chronicle detailed graphic accounts from a woman accusing Swalwell pursuing intoxicated women, pressuring employees into intimate situations, and asking for explicit images from female contacts. Rumblings of misconduct from Swalwell first emerged earlier this month when Cheyenne Hunt, a former Capitol Hill staffer and a political media personality, began circulating testimony from women who said that they had been sexually assaulted by the congressman. Hunt claimed in a post to social media the Democrat candidate currently leading in the California governor's race has a known history of being predatory towards women. Now, despite initially remaining mute on the allegations, Mr. Swalwell's office broke its silence on the matter in comments made to the New York Post just last week. In the statement, Micah Beasley, a spokesperson for the congressman, said this false, outrageous rumor is being spread 27 days before an election begins by flailing opponents who have sadly teamed up with MAGA conspiracy theorists because they know Eric Swalwell is the front runner in this race. Yeah, blame it on MAGA. Everything is blamed on MAGA. Now, my only question on that is, why does MAGA even care who wins the Democrat primary for governor in California? We don't, do we? We could care less whether it's Swalwell or anybody else. So you can't blame this on MAGA. Now, with Swalwell exiting the race, the battle to succeed term-limited Governor Gavin Newsom becomes even more uncertain, turbulent. And look, maybe there's room for a Republican to be elected governor again. It's been a while. Public opinion surveys indicated that Swalwell was the top polling Democrat in the race. He was leading former Representative Katie Porter, billionaire Tom Steyer, who's flooded the airwaves with ads since declaring his candidacy back last year. Both Porter and Steyer on Friday had called on Swalwell to suspend his gubernatorial campaign and resign from Congress. The crowded field of Democrats also includes former Health and Human Services Secretary Xavier Becerra and former Los Angeles Mayor Antonio Villaraigosa. There are two major Republicans in the race: conservative commentator, former Fox News host Steve Hilton, and Riverside County Sheriff Chad Bianca. Now, President Trump endorsed Hilton last weekend, which appears to be boosting his support, but the president's backing wasn't enough to put Hilton over the top this weekend at the California GOP annual convention. Neither Hilton or Bianca was able to top the 60% support of delegates threshold needed to earn the state's party endorsement. Democrats and Republicans appear on the same ballot in the June primary, with the top two finishers advancing to November's general election. It's kind of an odd system that they have in California. But, hey, it's I guess it's worked for them in previous years. Now, was this all new? Was this a surprise? Not according to Democrat insiders. East Bay political journalist and author Steve Tavares said in a Saturday social media post that allegations surrounding Eric Swalwell's behavior towards women were widely known among local officials shortly after he entered Congress back in 2013. So some of the Democrats have known it, and they've just sat on it. They've been silent about it. Tavares wrote, shortly after being elected to Congress in 2013, his behavior towards women was known by all levels of our local government and the Alameda County Democrat Party. I tried repeatedly to get the stories out. I can't force women to speak out, and when they chose not to, I didn't push. I also knew that Swalwell was known to threaten litigation. Tavares also emphasized his longstanding coverage of Swalwell. He wrote, I've covered Eric Swalwell since he was a member of the Dublin City Council. Don't get it twisted. Nobody has been more critical of Swalwell over the years. In a separate April 6th edition of his East Bay Insider's newsletter, Tavares outlined what he described as challenges facing Swalwell closer to home, particularly within Alameda County Democrat circles. He wrote that Swalwell's political standing in his home base remains limited. Look, people are starting to bail on Eric Swalwell. They're just a little late to the party, aren't they? Again, if you knew this was happening, and as it appears it was widely known within Democrat circles, but yet you ignored it, that kind of tells you a bit about your party, doesn't it? Mr. Tavares pointed to both ideological and personal factors in explaining the dynamic of people being quiet. He said the reasons are both ideological and personal. Despite his high-profile opposition to President Trump, many Democrat insiders in Alameda County do not view Swalwell as a reliable progressive, and that's why they have started turning on him. Tavares also pointed to Swalwell's early political campaigns as a source of lingering tensions. He said early in his congressional career, Swalwell unseated two well-regarded local figures, Pete Stark and Ellen Corbett. Don't know who they are, but I guess they're involved in California politics. Says those moves, while politically successful, left lingering resentment among longtime Democrat activists. In other words, they've been looking for a reason to turn on Eric Swalwell, and they've just now received that reason. He said that those divisions have not fully dissipated over time, and in addition, Tavares claimed that there is a perception that Swalwell has been less of a fixture in his district since buying a home in Washington, D.C. And that's classic, isn't it? You get elected, you go to Washington, you buy a home there, you just don't come back to your district. You forget about who sent you there. Well, Mr. Swalwell was reminded of who sent him there, and now all we were waiting on is for him to resign his seat in Congress. You don't have a weight problem. You have a body that's in survival mode, and no medication, crash diet, or app is going to fix that. Joey Hudson here, Ozempic, Wegovy. These GLP-1 drugs are exploding in popularity, and for some, they're a useful tool, but they don't address why your body started storing fat in the first place. At PhD Weight Loss, they treat the unwanted weight as a symptom, a signal that your metabolism, hormones, and stress response need some attention. When they correct those, the weight comes off naturally, and more importantly, it stays off. Because they're not just helping you lose weight, they're helping you increase health span and extend longevity. Right now, call PhD Weight Loss and mention Joey Hudson. You'll get 2 weeks free in the program, and they'll pay for your food. That's a $1,500 value, completely free. Call 864-644-1900. Do it right now. Mention Joey Hudson. Again, that's 864-644-1900, or go to myphdweightloss.com. No more guessing, no more short-term fixes, just a smarter way forward. I have an update for you from Iran, and we'll get into that in just a few minutes with the trip by Vice President JD Vance traveling to Pakistan over the weekend on Saturday. Came back empty-handed to a degree, but there are a lot of things that are pointing to a possible deal with Iran. We'll talk about that and what's going on with the Strait of Hormuz. And it was an interesting weekend, an exciting weekend for those of you who are golf fans at Augusta National over the weekend with Rory McIlroy winning his second Masters back-to-back. We got that coming up, too. But I want to take a minute, kind of pause from politics, and talk about just a real heartwarming story about a young girl in Colorado, but more importantly, about a police officer and his canine. Now, if you've listened to me for any length of time, you know my support of law enforcement. I think the men and women in blue are heroes, and the work that they do to keep us safe, to keep our community safe, is just amazing. And one of the tools that they have, some agencies more so than others, are their canine. The canine units play a special role, from bomb-sniffing dogs to drug-sniffing dogs to some of the dogs that now are trained for electronics. But this story is about a family in Colorado that found out firsthand the importance of those canine units. Last week, when the Arapahoe County Sheriff's Department was called out to help locate a missing 7-year-old girl. Deputy John Gray arrived on the scene and gave his well-trained canine partner, Rex, a whiff of the girl's sneakers. Rex is highly trained. Deputy Gray told KDVR-TV Denver that the canine has specialized training that he used for the first time that particular night. Here's the story.
We are meeting the dog that helped reunite a 7-year-old little girl with her family.
Yesterday, we showed you the video of an Arapahoe County Sheriff's Department canine that tracked down the little girl. Tonight, his handler shows us what it took to track her down.
Rex, here.
The secret is in those shoes right there.
They see me put an extra pair of her shoes down. You could see he sniffs those shoes, and then he knows the odor he's looking for. And that's what's helpful. We're not just looking for any person. We're looking for a specific person.
Arapahoe County Sheriff's Deputy John Gray says his partner, Canine Rex, had trained for this, but never had to put these skills to use till now.
And he is one of the first dogs in the state to be trained the way he is because he's kind of like a triple threat. So he's a therapy dog. He's also a full explosive detection canine, and then he's also a trained tracking canine, so he can track for missing people.
Hey, shine your light up here.
It was last week when the 7-year-old girl had become separated from her mom for nearly 2 hours. But Rex came in, picked up her scent, and found her in 12 minutes.
Yeah, we're just looking for a missing child.
He basically tells us 2 pieces of information: where somebody went and where somebody didn't go.
Hey, come here, come here, come here, come here. Stop.
And we use that information to be able to work as a team to ultimately find people, which in this case is what happened. He, told us where she hadn't gone and told us where she did, and kind of directed us to a couple of backyards. And when we went in the backyard, I was actually walked in there with him and was able to see him. And it was just a good case of teamwork that between me and some of the other officers on scene, we were able to get her safely back to her mom.
You're okay, sweetie.
It takes 16 weeks and a lot of work to train a canine unit to do these kinds of searches, but that training saved law enforcement lots of time and resources that night.
She would like to pet Rex.
As you can imagine, the girl's mom was ecstatic by Rex's discovery and actually offered him a gift.
She tried giving Rex the pair of shoes to chew on, but I had to remind her that we can't chew on things we're not supposed to.
What a story, and just obviously with a very happy ending. And think about how quickly that dog was able to locate this young girl. Now, the story was that night the girl had become separated from her mom and had been missing for about 2 hours. But Rex came in, picked up her scent, and found her within 12 minutes. Is that not just amazing to you? 12 minutes. As you heard his officer, the handler, say, he has 2 pieces of information: whether or not this young girl went in a certain direction or whether or not she didn't go in a certain direction, all from just sniffing her tennis shoes. Is that not just amazing? And this is why it's so important that law enforcement agencies have access to these canine units. And it's expensive. It takes some time. He explained it takes 16 weeks and a lot of work to train a canine unit to track missing people. But Deputy Gray says that training saved law enforcement lots of times, saved lots of resources that night, and again brought this young girl home much sooner than probably would have happened otherwise. Gray says the girl's mother was ecstatic that by Rex's discovery and actually offered the dog the gift, as you heard. Of course, Rex can't have shoes to chew on. But isn't this a great story? Don't you just love this type of story of a deputy and a canine, Rex, being able to save this little girl? I mean, who knows what would have happened? Maybe other officers would have found her. But obviously, the mom and the family hadn't been able to find her. They've been looking for her for 2 hours. Rex comes in as the hero and finds her in 12 minutes. That's pretty special. So if you ever have the opportunity to support a local law enforcement agency, maybe a fundraiser for a canine or whatever, and there are groups out there who raise money to buy canines and train canines for law enforcement, be sure and offer as much financial support as you possibly can. It was an exciting weekend for those of you who are golf fans as Rory McIlroy further etched his name into the Masters history.
And here we go. His year again. Rory is a rare repeat winner at Augusta.
And that was his about a 2-foot putt to put him in the history books. The Northern Irishman became just the 4th golfer in history to win back-to-back green jackets, finishing at 12 under par at Augusta National. Now, Tiger Woods was the last to accomplish this rare feat when he was a repeat winner in 2001-2002, which was quite some time ago, as you know. With multiple contenders in the mix, the margin for error was slim yesterday at Augusta National. 2-time Masters champion Scottie Scheffler finished just one shot behind McIlroy at 11 under. Meanwhile, Justin Rose, last year's Masters runner-up, finished in a tie for 3rd. And for a brief moment, Rose held a 2-shot lead in the final round until a series of mistakes through Amen Corner and a couple of birdies by the defending champion over the same stretch dealt him a dose of disappointment. Rose, who McIlroy outlasted in the playoff last year, said just a chance that got away. Now, it didn't come easy for McIlroy. He had a horrible round Saturday as he went into Saturday with about a 6-stroke lead, I think it was. He got a very slow start yesterday as well, but he bounced back in the final 9 of the final round. McIlroy held a Masters record 6-shot lead after 36 holes. But early yesterday, he stumbled. It dropped him into a tie for 4th before he regained control and just pushed his way to the consecutive titles. Over the years, when the Masters opened the major championship season, McIlroy has fended off questions about whether he could complete the elusive career Grand Slam. And again, it took him years to do this. In 2011, McIlroy went into the weekend with a substantial lead then. He's a very young man then, early 20s. And his goal at the time was to be one of the youngest winners of the Masters to complete the Grand Slam. That was elusive for the next 17 years as he lost that lead in just a matter of a few holes on the final day on Sunday and lost that championship. McIlroy said before Masters chairman Fred Ridley put his 2nd green jacket on him, "I just can't believe I waited 17 years to get 1 green jacket and then I get 2 in a row." A lot of other people can't believe it either, as again, it's a rare feat for that to happen. He joins a short list that includes Tiger Woods, Jack Nicklaus, and Nick Faldo. He was very emotional, teared up while speaking about his parents, Jerry and Rosie, who traveled to Georgia to witness his 2nd Masters title. They were not there last year. He joked that they thought about staying home because they didn't want to jinx him since they weren't there last year. It was fun to watch. Rory McIlroy brings golf to another level, I think. He's calm, he's steady. He's a good ambassador for the game of golf, considering the problems that Tiger Woods has had over the last decade. He reached a peak, Tiger Woods did, and has just fallen apart. Supposedly he's in an addiction recovery program right now because of his latest DUI. So, to have someone like McIlroy, who appears to be a family man, he loves his young daughter, Poppy, his wife and his family. It's just nice to see someone like that succeed in golf. Now, he did quite well for himself. His first place finish earned him $4.5 million. Now, that's a lot of money for 4 days of golf, isn't it? But look, the Masters pays pretty well to lose as well. The Masters announced their total purse on Saturday. So these players, and this is a bit unusual too. This is one of just a few tournaments that you don't know how much you could potentially win going into it. They announced it on Saturday. The total purse for this year was $22.5 million. According to the Masters, that was an increase of $1.5 million from last year and up $7.5 million from 2022 when Scottie Scheffler won. More than $17 million of this year's total will go to the top 15 finishers, with payouts dropping sharply down the leaderboard from there. Second place earned just over $2.4 million. So that's a pretty nice payday for second place, isn't it, for runner-up? Third place takes home a little more than $1.5 million. And even the golfer who finishes 50th, which is the final cut, after Friday's round, they cut the total number of players to play Saturday and Sunday down to 50. But the person who finished 50th earned $56,700. And again, I would take $56,700 to play for 4 days of golf, would you? Especially at a club like Augusta National. Players who make the final cut finish outside of the top 50 will earn at least $55,250, with payouts decreasing from there. Those who missed the cut took home $25,000. So if you made it into the Masters, but you didn't make the cut to go into the weekend, you still got $25,000. Now, if you look back and you kind of do a little research on the history, the Masters champion payday has grown considerably. Horton Smith, who won it in 1934, the inaugural tournament, won $1,500. But now $1,500 was a lot of money in 1934, probably more than people earned annually. So McIlroy won $4.2 million last year, $4.5 million this year. So the Masters has been very, very good to Rory McIlroy. Now, in addition, in a tradition that's unlike any other, players at Augusta National don't know the prize money they're competing for until they tee off on Saturday. The club waits until after the 36-hole cut to announce the payouts. Did you watch it? There's just something special. And I love golf, and I love to watch golf. But the other tournaments throughout the year, I'm not just glued to it. But the Masters, just first off, just seeing the beauty of Augusta National and knowing that it's just down the road, not very far from here. I've had the honor to have gone to the Masters a few times. Haven't been in recent years. May never go again in my life. It's hard to get those tickets. But at one point, I did have a dear friend, Kurt Newland, who was Mike Gallagher's father-in-law, who waited on the waiting list for 25 plus years to get tickets. And he finally got them, and he had tickets for about another 15, 20 years. And Kurt was very gracious and allowed me to use tickets for a number of years until he passed away. And that's a story in itself, because immediately upon his death, he died in December, and in January, the Masters sent the invitation for the tickets. And I thought, well, maybe we can buy them one last year for Kurt. And we tried, but the Masters immediately knew that Kurt had passed away. I guess they scanned the obituaries or something, because and my name and number and all was on the account as his contact. And immediately I got a phone call from the Masters saying, sorry, we cannot issue Mr. Newland's tickets this year because we see that he passed in December. That's pretty wild, isn't it? And it's especially wild when you hear of stories like I talked with you about last year or last week, where you had the lady in South Carolina who collected the pension of her sister for 18 months before she got caught. I joked then that the state pension program needs to have the same program or the same system that the Masters has in keeping up with their with their tickets to keep people from continuing to receive those pension fund long after someone has passed away. But it was a great weekend, beautiful weekend, great weather, and it was just fun. I'm just glued to the TV on Masters weekend. Your comments are welcome on the Furman Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY. That's 864-477-5639. Emails always welcome, joey@joeyhudson.com. Speaking of the Furman Ford text line, it's never been more important to support locally run businesses owned by people who actually live here in the upstate. Let me take a minute to talk with you about our friends at Furman Ford. If you're looking for a new vehicle, maybe a great pre-owned vehicle, one you can trust, or maybe you're looking to order that special vehicle. Either way, if you want a new one, a brand new one, or a pre-owned that you can trust, the folks at Furman Ford, they're there to help you. Their name is on the sign because their name is on the line, because every single transaction is important to them. Jim Furman, Matthew Furman. They do business the right way. When you stop by, when you give them a call, or maybe when you just send them a quick email, you're always going to have access to a member of the Furman Ford family. And by the way, they also offer great service, and you're not going to have to wait weeks and weeks to get it done. And you do not have had to purchase your vehicle at Furman Ford. Doesn't even have to be a Ford. They service all makes and models. Visit my friends at Furman Ford online at furmanford.com, furmanford.com. Okay, before we wrap up today, I need to get you updated on what's happening in Iran and what happened over the weekend. You probably know that the vice president went to Pakistan on behalf of the United States. He and Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner and the delegation went to try to hammer out the final peace deal with Iran. And all I can tell you at this point is there is no deal, as peace talks between the U.S. and Iran and Pakistan failed to reach an agreement. Fox's Deborah Valentine reported.
Vice President JD Vance says the high-stakes talks between the U.S. and Tehran ended without an agreement.
We have not reached an agreement, and I think that's bad news for Iran, much more than it's bad news for the United States of America.
The vice president says Iran refused to accept the U.S. demand that Tehran not have the ability to build and or possess nuclear weapons.
We need to see an affirmative commitment that they will not seek a nuclear weapon, and they will not seek the tools that would enable them to quickly achieve a nuclear weapon.
Vance said the U.S. delegation left Islamabad with a simple final offer, adding, quote, "We'll see if the Iranians accept it." Deborah Valentine, Fox News.
One U.S. official told media that peace negotiations with Iran fell apart after Tehran severely misjudged what kind of leverage that they believed they held with the U.S., which was zero, none. Now, Vice President JD Vance, of course, left Islamabad, Pakistan, without the deal. The official said that Vance used the talks to measure the Iranians' own assessment of their position in the negotiations. The vice president found that Tehran thought they held a strong hand going into the negotiations. The official added that no deal can be achieved when one party deludes itself into believing they have leverage that in reality they do not have. Do you think that the leaders of Iran are just that dumb? If they went into that meeting over the weekend thinking that they had leverage with the U.S. after we have just pummeled them, they're not very smart, are they? The U.S. official described the talks as starting out tough, though developing into a more friendly and productive dialogue over the duration of the 21-hour-long negotiation. Now, these were high-stake talks, and we had some of our best there with the vice president. The vice president earlier Sunday, during a press conference from the Serena Hotel in Islamabad, said that the Iranian officials refused to accept the American terms. He said at the time, so we go back to the United States, having not come to an agreement. We made very clear what our red lines are, what things we're willing to accommodate, accommodate them on and what things we're not willing to accommodate them on. And we've made that as clear as we possibly could, and they have chosen not to accept our terms. The U.S. official said that over the course of the discussions, the Washington delegation determined it was clear that the Iranians did not comprehend that the core of any peace deal hinges on Iran never obtaining a nuclear weapon. Never, ever. And that has to be clear to them. I can't imagine how they think that there's even a slight opening that we and the world would ever allow them to be in the situation to have a nuclear weapon. I mean, that point remains the main objective of any potential peace deal. Now, there are other red lines that the U.S. has as well. But that's the primary objective. That's number one on the list. You don't get to go to item 2 without agreeing to number 1. The official said that the U.S. and Iran failed to reach any type of agreement because of some of Washington's red lines. Some of the others include the dismantling of all of Iran's major nuclear enrichment facilities, the retrieval of highly enriched uranium, the acceptance of a broader peace, security, and de-escalation framework that includes regional allies, an end to the funding of Iran's terrorist proxies like Hamas, Hezbollah, and the Houthis, and Iran fully opening the Strait of Hormuz with no tolls for passage. That's a big one as well. President Trump announced via Truth Social that U.S. forces will blockade the Strait of Hormuz after talks with Iran and Pakistan failed. Fox's Alex Hogan was at the White House.
The president made that major announcement that the U.S. Navy will start blocking passage through the Strait of Hormuz, and it will also be clearing the critical waterway of mines.
We're not going to let Iran make money on selling oil to people that they like and not people that they don't like or whatever it is.
21 hours of talks and still no deal. The main sticking point, the country's nuclear capabilities. So the president has said that this could mean that hostilities could resume. There's, of course, a lot of questions about what this will mean for the future of this very delicate ceasefire.
Now, again, the vice president made it very clear as well that a deal does remain on the table, and it's up to Tehran to accept the terms. During a news conference following the meetings, he said, "We leave here with a very simple proposal, a method of understanding that is our final and best offer. We'll see if the Iranians accept it." Meanwhile, last night, Iran's president said that an agreement with the United States is still a possibility if Washington takes a different stance towards Tehran. The president said in a post translated from Persian to English that was shared on X, "If the American government respects the rights of the Iranian nation, ways to reach an agreement will certainly be found. I commend the members of the negotiating team, especially my dear brother, Dr. Mohammad Bagar. God gives you strength," he said. Now, President Trump said last night, too, that he's very disappointed in NATO as tensions with Iran continue to escalate, criticizing the alliance's lack of involvement in the growing conflict. Trump told reporters at Joint Base Andrews, "They weren't there for us. We pay trillions of dollars for NATO, and they weren't there for us." He questioned the longstanding financial commitment that the U.S. has made to the alliance, arguing that American contributions have largely gone towards protecting allied nations, particularly against Russia. He said, "We spent trillions of dollars on NATO to help guard against Russia. When you think about it, we're guarding them against Russia. I've long thought it was a little ridiculous." Trump said that NATO's role and the U.S. funding levels will face increased scrutiny moving forward. He said, "I think that's going to be under very serious examination." Trump met last week with NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte at the White House. And, you know, Trump's never been a big fan of NATO anyway. He pretty much shamed other NATO countries into paying more of their share, as the U.S. for years has been paying above and beyond our share, so much so that these other countries have felt like, well, I guess we don't have to pay ours since the U.S. is going to pay it for us. It's never been fair. NATO has never been fair to the U.S. They take advantage of us. They take advantage of our generosity. And other presidents like Joe Biden allowed it to happen. Joe Biden allowed NATO to take full advantage of our generosity. Donald Trump's not going to do that. Donald Trump is going to stand up to NATO. He's going to stand up to the other NATO allies, and he's going to make them pay more of their share. He's going to make them pay their share, what their fair share should be. The world has to understand once and for all that the U.S. is not their bank, that the U.S. is not going to continuously bail them out. I mean, what does it accomplish for us? We can take care of ourselves. We can defend ourselves. We don't need NATO to defend us. Why should we keep funding NATO when some of the other countries who benefit from it more so than we do don't support it? Not financially anyway. Text me, email me, joey@joeyhudson.com. That's it for today's edition of Just the Truth. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss Studios. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. If you haven't joined my mailing list yet, visit my website, joeyhudson.com. Click on the Connect with Joey button so that you can receive our emails and the most up-to-date news. Also, join me on my YouTube channel. Be sure and like, comment, and subscribe. Just search for Joey Hudson. As always, thanks for spending a few minutes of your day with me. Do me a favor and forward this episode to a few friends. Just click on the share button and send to your contacts. We need to build an army of conservatives to win our country back, and we can do that by continuing to share the truth with our friends and family. Keep those comments coming via the Furman Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY. Email to joey@joeyhudson.com, and I love your messages on the MyPillow message line. Again, that's 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. Be sure and take advantage of the MyPillow special, just $14.88 on the standard MyPillows when you use promo code Joey. Order online at mypillow.com or call 800-893-4053. We're back again tomorrow and hope you'll plan to join us. Until then, remember, God's got this. He's still in control.